All right, so today we're going deep, yeah, into the world of Oracle CPQ, and specifically asset-based ordering. So this is a feature that's been around for a while, but it's evolved quite a bit over the years,
Yeah.
and it can be a little daunting to kind of keep up with all the changes.
Sure.
So ABO, for those who might not know, it's really about helping businesses manage orders for products that involve assets. So we're talking about subscriptions, recurring services, anything where you're not just selling a one-time product,
Yeah.
but you're actually selling something that's going to be used and managed over time.
That's a good way to put it. It's not just about the initial sale.
Yeah.
It's about the entire life cycle of that product or service.
Exactly. And so, we've got, I think, a stack of release notes here going all the way back to 2016. Wow. And we're going to kind of try to distill the key changes. What's really important for someone who's working with ABO.
Absolutely. And there's a lot to unpack, from those early days when it was, I wouldn't say bare bones, but it was definitely simpler to where it is today, which is quite a robust and sophisticated.
Right. And we're even going to touch on some of the hiccups along the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, because,
Because every software has its growing pains, right?
Exactly.
And ABO is no exception. But it's really fascinating to see how they've learned from those and iterated and improved the product.
So let's rewind all the way back to 2016.
Okay.
ABO makes its grand debut.
The grand debut.
Right.
Yes. I mean, it was a big deal at the time.
Yeah.
It was a feature that a lot of people had been asking for, and it was really about laying the groundwork. Right. You could create assets, you could link them to products, you could manage their life cycles, but it was, as I said, it was pretty basic.
Pretty basic. Okay. So then we move into 2017, and things start picking up a little bit.
Picking up steam.
Right. We get namespaces for better organization.
Yes.
Which, when you're dealing with complex asset structures, that's crucial.
It is. You need a way to organize all of that.
Yeah.
To make it manageable.
To make it manageable, right. And then also in 2017, we get REST APIs, which I always think of those as kind of the unsung heroes of integration.
They really are. They work behind the scenes, but they make
everything.
A huge difference.
Yeah. So suddenly you could have your e-commerce platform talking directly to CPQ to manage subscriptions, assets, all thanks to these APIs.
And that opens up a whole world of possibilities, right?
Yeah.
You can automate so much. You can integrate with other systems.
Yeah.
It really makes ABO a much more powerful tool.
So it's amazing how these seemingly small technical additions really open up a whole world of possibilities for businesses.
Yeah, and sometimes the most impactful changes aren't always the flashiest, right?
Right.
It's those little things that really make a difference in how you use the product day to day.
And speaking of those little things that make a big difference, also in 2017.
Okay.
We get the suspend and resume buttons.
Oh, yes.
On the customer assets page.
That was a big one.
It might sound simple.
Yeah, it seems simple, but it
gives you so much more control over your assets, right?
Yeah. So we're starting to see ABO gain some momentum here. Then comes 2018.
Okay.
And all eyes are on system configuration.
System configuration, that's a big one.
Yeah, what was so significant about that?
So system configuration was a game changer because it allowed
for much more sophisticated asset structures.
Okay.
Right. So instead of just managing individual assets, businesses could now model complex relationships between different components.
So it's like you're taking it to that next level of...
Exactly. You're going from, managing individual Lego bricks to building entire Lego masterpieces.
Right.
Right. You could map out an entire network of devices or a complex manufacturing line all within the framework of ABO.
That's a huge step forward in terms of complexity and sophistication.
It is.
So to make things even better, 2018 brought...
To make things even better.
Token-based authentication.
Token-based authentication, yes.
Which opened the door for self-service portals.
Exactly. So now customers could securely access and manage their own assets without needing full CPQ logins.
So it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
for both businesses and their customers.
Exactly. Businesses don't have to worry about security as much, and customers have more control over their own stuff.
But wait, wasn't there a big compatibility issue around this time?
Oh, yes.
Something about
Yeah.
system configuration and ABO not playing nice together?
Yeah, you're remembering correctly. So in versions 18A,
Yeah.
18B, and 18C, you couldn't actually have
Wow.
both system configuration and ABO enabled on the same site.
So you had to choose.
Yeah, it was a tough choice for some businesses.
Wow. So what happened? Like,
Uh,
did businesses just have to choose one or the other?
Well, thankfully,
Yeah.
Oracle listened to the feedback,
Mhm.
and they eventually resolved the conflict.
Okay.
It was, it's a classic case of growing pains, right? You
Yeah.
have these two
Powerful features.
powerful but complex features,
Yeah.
and trying to get them to work together seamlessly,
Yeah.
it takes time, it takes effort. But they got there.
That's good.
And it really highlights their commitment to making ABO a truly versatile tool.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that even the best software, goes through
Bro.
some awkward phases.
Backward phases.
Right.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've navigated the compatibility clash of 2018.
The clash.
What's next on our ABO timeline?
All right, so let's move on to 19B, which brought a wave of user-friendly enhancements.
User-friendly, you say?
User-friendly, yes.
Tell me more.
So first up,
Okay.
we got multi-select asset operations.
Oh, okay.
So imagine
Yeah.
being able to modify, renew,
Yeah.
or even terminate multiple assets at once
Instead of one by one.
instead of one by one.
That sounds amazing.
Right. Huge time saver.
Yeah. What else?
What else? Okay. They also introduced support for simple products.
Okay.
So before this, everything had to go through a configuration process, even basic items.
Okay.
But with this update, you could use ABO even for products that didn't require complex configurations.
Interesting.
Right. So it expanded its use cases significantly.
So even businesses with simpler product offerings could start taking advantage of ABO.
Exactly.
Okay. Were there any other significant changes in 19B?
Yes, there was one more that I think is worth mentioning.
Okay.
19B also saw a new approach to handling asset transactions.
Okay.
So it provided a more streamlined and efficient way
Got it.
to manage the entire transaction lifecycle within ABO.
So that sounds like a pretty significant technical improvement.
It was under the hood,
Yeah.
but it made a big difference.
Okay. But didn't 19B also come with a bit of a gotcha?
Oh, you're remembering all the tricky parts.
Well,
yes.
gotta keep you on your toes.
Yes. 19B did have a little gotcha.
Something about the JT configuration UI.
That's right.
Not being quite ready for prime time with ABO.
That's right. So JET was the shiny new UI framework at the time, but it wasn't fully compatible with the intricacies of ABO.
So it's a good reminder that sometimes, even when new technologies are exciting, it takes a little while for everything to catch up.
Exactly. Sometimes you have to wait for the rest of the world to catch up to the new shiny thing.
Exactly. So we end 19B with ABO becoming more powerful. More flexible. And more user-friendly.
User-friendly, yeah.
But with a few reminders. That even the most innovative software has its growing pains.
Absolutely. It's all part of the journey.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we jump into the later releases, let's take a quick breather.
A breather.
And reflect on what we've seen so far.
Okay. Reflection time.
Yeah. So we've seen ABO emerge from its humble beginnings.
Humble beginnings, yes.
Right. Gain momentum with key features like REST APIs.
Yes, very
And
good.
tackle some compatibility challenges head on.
Head on, that's right.
What stands out to you as the biggest takeaways from these early releases?
For me, it's the way they addressed those early compatibility issues because it shows they were really committed to making ABO work seamlessly, even as it grew more complex.
It definitely highlights the importance of feedback.
Absolutely.
Right, and how Oracle seems to take it to heart.
They do listen to their customers and they try to, address the pain points as much as possible.
That's great.
Which is great to see in a software vendor.
Absolutely. All right, so now let's shift gears.
Okay.
And zoom in to the period from 2020 to 2024.
All right, let's do it.
It feels like this is where ABO really hit its stride in terms of maturity and refinement.
Refinement, yeah.
So we see a clear focus on enhancing the user experience,
Absolutely.
boosting performance,
Assurance is key.
and making ABO an integral part of the Oracle ecosystem.
The ecosystem, yes, very important.
Yeah. Okay. So let's unpack some of those key enhancements.
Okay, let's unpack.
2020 kicks off with a bit of a curveball,
Oh, a curveball.
a data limit,
Oh, yes.
affecting ABO diagnosis logs.
Yes, I remember that one.
Can you shed some light on that?
Yes, so essentially there was a cap
Okay.
on how much diagnostic information
Okay.
ABO could store.
Okay.
And this could pose a challenge
Yeah.
when you're troubleshooting complex issues.
You need those logs.
You need those logs, right?
Yeah.
But thankfully, Oracle quickly provided a workaround
Okay.
to address the issue.
All right. Always good to have a safety net.
Always good to have a safety net, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, 21A introduces something that
That's just-
sounds pretty straightforward.
Straightforward.
A business-level time zone setting.
Time zones, yes.
Why was this such a big deal?
So time zones might sound mundane, but they're actually critical
They are.
for accurate asset tracking,
Got it.
especially for businesses operating across different regions.
Right.
Right. So this seemingly minor addition
Yeah.
ensured that asset life cycles were calculated correctly,
Yeah.
no matter where you were in the world.
That makes sense.
Right.
It's fascinating how a
Yeah.
small tweak
A small tweak
can make a world of difference.
can make a world of difference. Absolutely.
For global businesses.
Absolutely.
Okay. 21B and 21D bring us delta pricing.
Delta pricing, yes.
And this is where things get really exciting.
This is where it gets exciting.
Can you break down what delta pricing is
Okay.
and why it's such a game changer?
So imagine you're configuring
Yeah.
a subscription for a customer
Mm-hmm.
and they want to add a feature or extend the service period.
Okay.
Delta pricing lets you instantly see
Okay.
how those changes affect the overall price.
So you don't have to.
No more guesswork,
Yeah.
no more manual calculations.
Right.
It's all right there in the
Ah.
configuration UI.
That sounds incredibly powerful.
It is.
I can see how that would streamline the sales process
Yeah,
and make things so much easier
absolutely.
for both the sales team and the customer.
For everyone involved, really,
Yeah.
it makes it so much easier.
And it gets even better.
It gets even better.
In 21D,
Yes,
they extended delta pricing
they did.
to projected assets.
To projected assets, so assets that haven't even
That's amazing.
been fulfilled yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
This means you can accurately forecast
That's huge.
the financial impact of potential asset changes.
Yeah, that's huge for planning
It's huge.
and revenue projection.
It is.
Okay, delta pricing is officially
It's a good one.
on my list of favorite
Favorite?
ABO features.
Yes.
What else does this era of refinement bring us?
All right. Well, 22C
Okay.
is all about making asset management easier.
Okay.
Right. So they added more asset fields,
Yep.
increased field sizes, and basically gave admins more flexibility
Yeah.
in managing all the information.
So it's like they were decluttering
Exactly.
the administrative side of ABO
Decluttering, yes.
and giving users more room to breathe.
Giving them more room to breathe, more
Yeah.
flexibility.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it was a good one.
And then in 23B,
Okay.
we see the introduction
Of this COM2B.
of the Commerce Standard process,
Commerce standard process, yes.
which was designed to simplify
Designed to simplify.
the setup
Yes.
for new ABO implementations.
It's like a blueprint, right?
Yeah,
It streamlines the initial configuration process.
that's a great addition
Yeah.
for businesses just starting out.
Yeah, because it can be a little
Yeah.
overwhelming at first
It's a lot.
to set up ABO.
It can be.
Right.
Yeah.
So having that guided setup process
Yeah.
can make a big difference.
All right, we're almost caught up to the present.
Almost there.
What does 24D bring to the table?
All right, so 2040 introduces something called exploded quantity,
Okay.
which might sound
quantity.
a little technical,
Yeah.
but it has important implications for
Huh.
how quantities are handled within assets.
All right, so help me understand this.
Okay.
Why is a more granular view
Okay.
of quantities important?
So it impacts
Yeah.
how pricing, renewals,
Yeah.
and other calculations are performed,
Got it.
especially for complex assets
Okay.
with multiple components.
Okay.
Right. So with exploded quantity,
Yeah.
you can see exactly how many of each subcomponent are
Yeah.
included
Yeah.
in the overall asset,
Okay.
which leads to more accurate
Got it.
pricing and forecasting.
So even though it might sound like a minor technical change,
Yes,
it actually has the potential to
it does.
make a big difference in how businesses
That difference.
manage and price their assets.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's all about those details.
Yeah,
Right.
it is. Yeah.
But the details matter. And that's why keeping up
Yeah.
with these release notes is so crucial.
Right.
Because what might seem like a small tweak can actually have a ripple effect throughout your ABO implementation.
Now, I want to shift gears for a moment and talk about the listener's experience with ABO.
Okay.
So you've been working with this feature for years.
I have, yes.
What are some of the most common challenges you've seen users face?
So one common challenge is simply keeping up with all the changes.
That makes sense.
Right.
We just went through years of releases.
Years of releases.
It's a lot to take in.
It's a lot.
Even for someone who lives and breathes CPQ.
Yeah, it's a lot to keep up with.
Right.
Another challenge is fully leveraging the power of ABO.
Okay.
Right. So many businesses start with a basic implementation and never really explore all the possibilities.
Kind of.
So they might be missing out on features that could streamline their processes or create new revenue streams.
So it's not just about knowing what the features are, but understanding how to apply them to your specific business needs.
Exactly.
And really maximizing the value.
Maximizing the value, yes.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone who's feeling a bit overwhelmed or unsure where to start?
So my advice would be to start by identifying your biggest pain points or areas where you see the most potential for improvement. Right?
Yeah.
And then dive into the release notes for the versions of ABO that you're using and see if there are any features that address those specific needs. You might be surprised at what you discover.
That's great advice. Don't try to boil the ocean.
Don't boil the ocean.
Right. Yeah. Focus on the areas where ABO can make the biggest impact on your business.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Experiment, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Spin up a test environment.
Spin up a test environment.
Play around with the new feature.
Play around, yeah.
And see how they can be integrated into your workflows.
Exactly. The best way to learn is by doing.
I love that advice. The best way to learn is by doing.
Absolutely.
Okay, now let's zoom back in on a specific release that I think really shifted the paradigm for ABO.
Shifted the paradigm,
The 18D release.
18D, yes.
Where we saw the introduction of system configuration models being used with ABO.
This was a big one.
So this was
pivotal.
Pivotal.
Yes.
So suddenly, ABO wasn't just about managing individual assets. It was about managing entire systems of assets.
Systems of assets, yes.
It's like
it's like going from managing individual Lego bricks to building entire Lego masterpieces. Right.
So you could model complex relationships between different components.
Complex relationships, yes.
Understand how changes to one part affect the whole.
The whole system.
And manage the life cycle of the entire system.
The entire system, yes.
This must have opened up a world of possibilities for businesses.
It did.
In industries. With interconnected assets.
Interconnected, yes.
I'm thinking telecommunications.
Telecom.
Yes, manufacturing.
Healthcare, anywhere.
Understanding the interplay of different components is critical.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So imagine being able to model an entire network of devices.
A network of devices.
A complex manufacturing line.
A manufacturing line.
Or even a patient's medical history.
Or a patient's medical history, all within the framework of ABO.
It was a game changer.
It was a game changer.
So, to our listener out there, have you embraced this system-level view of asset management? Yeah, have you taken that leap?
Are you leveraging
Are you using it?
The power of system configuration models within ABO?
Yeah. Are you building those masterpieces?
If not,
this
might be the perfect time.
Now is the time.
To explore those possibilities.
It's a different way of thinking about asset management.
Right.
But it can unlock incredible insights and optimization opportunities. So it's worth exploring.
Now, I can't help but wonder, what's next for ABO?
What's next,
Where do you see this technology heading in the future?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
We don't have a crystal ball.
Right.
But we can look at the trends and make some educated guesses.
Okay.
So I think we'll continue to see tighter integration with other Oracle solutions like Commerce Cloud.
Okay.
ABO will become even more seamlessly embedded
Yeah.
in the broader Oracle ecosystem.
I agree. Yeah. We're also seeing businesses
Yeah.
rapidly embracing digital transformation.
Digital transformation, yes.
And I think ABO will play an even more crucial role in managing the increasing
It has to.
complexity of their assets and services.
It has to. It's
Yeah.
essential for that.
And let's not forget about the Internet of Things.
Oh, the IoT, yes.
Right, the IoT. As more and more devices become connected,
And when more devices,
the demand for
demand will skyrocket.
robust asset management solutions like ABO
Yeah,
will skyrocket.
absolutely.
I think we'll see features specifically designed for IoT scenarios
Yeah,
in future releases.
for sure.
So we're talking about managing
We're talking
entire ecosystems
Yeah.
of connected devices,
Yes.
all within the familiar
Framework
of
that
ABO.
they all know and love.
Right. It brings us back to
It does.
the importance of staying ahead of the curve.
Ahead of the curve, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Because technology never stands still.
Never stand still.
To truly leverage the power of tools like ABO, we need to be curious, proactive, and always willing to learn and adapt. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today.
A lot of ground.
We've journeyed through the evolution of
ABO.
ABO, from its early days to its current state
Yeah.
as a robust and flexible tool.
Flexible.
What are some final thoughts
Okay, final thoughts.
you'd like to leave our listener with?
Don't think of ABO as just a static tool.
Okay.
It's a dynamic platform
Yeah.
that's constantly evolving
Mm-hmm.
to meet the needs of businesses.
Right.
Stay informed, experiment,
Okay.
and don't be afraid to push the boundaries.
Push the boundaries. I like that.
Push the boundaries of what's possible with ABO.
Embrace the evolution.
Embrace it.
Stay curious.
Stay curious.
And keep exploring.
Keep exploring.
Now, before we wrap up,
Okay.
I want to touch on one more critical aspect of ABO,
Okay, what's that?
and that's its impact on the customer experience.
Customer experience. Okay.
We'll dive into that in the final part
All right, sounds good.
of our deep dive. Welcome back to our deep dive, all about Oracle CPQ's asset-based ordering.
We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From those earlier releases to what we might see in the future.
Exactly. And now we're going to talk about what it all means for the customer.
Yes, the customer.
Right.
The most important piece of the puzzle.
At the end of the day,
Yeah,
happy customers, happy business.
exactly.
And so all these features we've talked about, they all aim
Yeah,
to improve the experience for our customers.
absolutely. We can get caught up in
Yeah.
the technical details, but ultimately,
Right.
it's all about making things better for the people who are actually using.
These are the products and services, right?
Yeah.
Products and services, exactly.
Yeah. So ABO, it gives you that power to manage
Mm-hmm.
assets throughout their entire life cycle.
The entire life cycle, yeah.
From the initial purchase to renewal, upgrade, even termination.
Everything.
Yeah.
You have control over all of it.
And that level of control can really impact how you interact with your customers.
Absolutely.
And how they perceive your business.
It's all about perception, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's all about that experience.
The experience, yeah.
So for starters, ABO, it lets you offer more personalized service offerings.
Personalized, yeah.
So, instead of forcing customers into these rigid packages,
New packages, yeah.
you can really tailor subscriptions
You can tailor them
to their specific needs.
to their needs, exactly.
And if you need to adjust configurations on the fly, ABO makes it seamless.
Seamless, yeah.
And then with real-time
Real-time.
asset data at your fingertips, you can provide that proactive support. Proactive, yes.
That anticipates customer needs.
That's key. You want to be ahead of the game.
Right. You want to be one step ahead.
Exactly.
So imagine a customer wants to add a new feature to their subscription.
Yeah.
Or upgrade to a higher tier of service with ABO.
You can handle
They can handle those requests
easily.
with ease.
No problem.
No hoops to jump through.
The hoops?
No complex manual processes.
It's all streamlined.
And this level of agility, it not only makes your life easier, but it creates a more positive and responsive experience for your customers.
Absolutely.
They feel heard.
They feel heard.
They feel valued.
Valued.
And empowered to manage their own services.
Yes. Give them the control.
Which leads to increased loyalty and stronger relationships.
Absolutely. Happy customers are loyal customers.
Exactly. Exactly. And let's not forget about the power of automation.
Automation, yes.
So ABO can automate so many of those tedious tasks.
Tedious.
Yes, associated with asset management.
Asset management, yeah.
We're talking about renewals, billing, even those proactive maintenance reminders.
Yeah.
ABO can handle all of that.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
While you focus on more important things.
So this frees up your team to focus on building those deeper customer relationships, developing innovative new offerings.
Exactly. Let the system do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And you can focus on the human side of things.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about that balance.
Okay, so as you continue to explore and leverage the power of ABO, keep the customer experience.
Keep it in mind.
Top of mind.
Top of mind, yes.
Right. Think about how each feature, each enhancement can be used to create a more personalized, flexible, and ultimately delightful experience.
Delightful, yes.
For the people you serve.
That's the goal.
Because at the end of the day, a satisfied customer is the best measure of success.
Couldn't agree more. A satisfied customer is a happy customer.
Absolutely. All right, so it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive.
Time to wrap it up.
We've explored the evolution of Oracle CPQ's asset-based ordering.
We've been on quite a journey.
From its early days to its current state.
Yeah.
As this powerful, flexible tool.
It's come a long way.
We've uncovered hidden gems.
Hidden gems.
And hopefully sparked some ideas for our listeners.
I hope so.
But the journey doesn't end here.
It never ends.
The world of technology is constantly evolving, and so is ABO.
Always evolving, always changing.
Stay curious, keep exploring, and don't be afraid to...
Don't be afraid.
Push the boundaries of what's possible.
Push those boundaries.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, happy asset managing.
Happy asset managing, everyone.